Hello, welcome to another English Sparkling with Tweedy video. Back in the woods again. The cellar is still very poorly stocked at the moment. I just don't seem to be able to get my act together and put in an order online anywhere. So I'm having to just buy individual bottles one at a time and do the best I can with the shops I have available in the wider area near where I live. So I popped to Hampstead today because it's convenient to then just walk on to the heath. There are two wine shops there that I occasionally use, more often Jeroboams, also good for Burgundy. Last time it was a bottle from Amethyst, but this is one from Jeroboams this time. They seem to rely on two producers for their English sparkling offering, at least at the Hampstead branch. They're all from either Nightimber or Harrow and Hope. Nightimber you're probably familiar with, big English sparkling producer. Harrow and Hope are based in Marlow, near Marlow in Buckinghamshire. I have had a few of these before, but checking back through the previous videos before picking this up, I think I've only actually done one review on the channel of a Harrow and Hope wine. I was tempted by a Blanc de Noir they had there, 2019 Blanc de Noir. That really did jump off the shelf at me, but it needed to be chilled because I was just coming straight to the heath. So I had to rule that out, and based on what they had actually in the fridge, it was a toss-up between this and the rosé. Not really in a rosé sort of mood, so I went for the Brut, the classic cuvée, whatever they call their standard white blend again. But it is a different batch. I think previously when I did that other tasting, it would have been, they call it number, they have a numbered series for each of these releases. That was number 8 back then, even though they're non-vintages. This is number 10. It will be a blend of vintages, but I think the most recent vintage in this one would have probably been 2021. Several vintages leading up to that. There is a bit of blurb on the back of the bottle and a little bit of blurb on their website, but it's just under 3 years of lees aging. This particular bottle was bottled in May of 2022, disgorged February 2025, about a year ago. So it's had just shy of 3 years on the lees. And the blend here is a little bit more of the Pinots than Chardonnay. It's 40% Pinot Noir, 40% Chardonnay, and the remainder 20% Pinot Meunier. I think I read online as well that the dosage is sort of slap bang in the middle of the Brut range. It's 10, well, I suppose that's slightly over towards the higher side, but I doubt anyone would notice. 10 point something. Brut goes from 6 to 12, doesn't it? Is that enough babble? It's probably not really the weather for English sparkling, but it is Friday and I still have this habit that I just can't break of the end of the working week. And I think I actually have put in a decent week's worth of work this week. I've been making a video for the pubs channel, which has occupied most of my time that I haven't been spending with family really. All my free time this week has been on that video on the pubs channel about the lost pubs of Chinatown. Finished that off earlier today, so I can now take a break. Give myself some time off. Quite a pale gold there. And nice resilient mousse. I like to see that. I always feel slightly disheartened when the mousse immediately dissipates after pouring. You don't want a sort of a thick creamy head like a pint of Guinness, but it's nice to have a little bit of froth remaining. What do we have on the nose then to begin with? Pre-swirl. I think I get a bit more Chardonnay character to start with, actually, considering that's only 40%. It's a little bit more on the kind of green, pale coloured fruit side rather than the darker coloured fruit side that you might associate with Pinot. So there's some orchard fruit there, a bit of citrus, and if there are things like stone fruit, it's pale coloured stone fruit, so possibly something like green gages. And there is a nice autolytic, or I think it's autolytic, side order to that. The thing that comes to mind there is shortbread, I think. Starting to build a bit of a picture in my mind of something a tiny bit like cheesecake. You know, you sometimes use something like shortbread, a biscuity base for a cheesecake. Not that the rest of it has a much of a dairy aroma particularly, but yeah, there is a nice kind of biscuity, shortbready sort of aroma there that is quite pleasant. I think last time I identified the citrus character as being more lime than lemon. I'm tempted to go a little bit that way here as well. Nice little whiff of brown sugar there as well. Lime cheesecake. Is that the conclusion I'm coming to for the bringing together of all those things? Let's see how that develops with a bit of a swirl. And actually now I get nice creamy notes, so that's underlining the cheesecake analogy. Really pleasant actually, a sort of clotted cream, buttery sort of creamy note, which is either some wood interaction with particularly the Chardonnay, or I think you sometimes get that coming hand in hand with the autolytic character, with that interaction with the dead yeast cells that normally manifests itself as more bready sort of bakery type notes, but here, yeah, something slightly creamy. It's pleasant. It is still overall giving me more of a sense of a Chardonnay dominant wine, I think, than a Pinot dominant wine. But it is nice nonetheless. Nice, full sort of mouthfeel to that. I actually like that they haven't been too stingy with the dosage there. It certainly doesn't taste sweet. I'm not saying this is a demi-sec or anything. I considered actually picking up a demi-sec, although that might be a little bit of a bridge too far. They had Nightingale's Cuvée Sherry, is it called demi-sec? I'm getting distracted, aren't I? But there is a lovely twinge of sweetness there to what is otherwise very much a brut, a dry, sparkling, and nice mouth-filling sense of the effervescence I really like. A good balance, I suppose. The sweet and sour, there's definitely a bit of zing there, but I really like the slight, again, I'm thinking of brown sugar, the slight brown sugar twinge of sweetness to that on the palate. Fruit-wise, I seem to be again thinking of lime here. It has that particular kind of zing. It's citrusy, the zing. The apples seem to have fallen by the wayside. If I was talking about apples earlier, they've now gone. But I'm thinking more citrusy in that zing character. And yeah, sort of, it's very hard to put into words the difference in flavour between lemon juice and lime juice, but you know when you taste it, don't you? One sort of slightly more, I don't know, sort of more bitter or more aromatic or something like that. It's starting to rain now. I do have an umbrella here. I even have a tarp, but can't really be bothered to string it up. I don't know. Yes, I think I'm still going to stick to my initial lime cheesecake assessment of that, which is overall pretty nice, actually. It all works together. There's definitely some fruit, some nice citrusy, interesting, ever so slightly exotic fruit character there. Lime to me is an exotic fruit. I suppose lemon's exotic. You can't exactly grow them in England, can you? Naturally, anyway, not without a greenhouse and stuff. And it's like creamy notes, nice biscuity notes, shortbready biscuity notes. Yeah, lime cheesecake. And the brown sugar, the hint of brown sugar. Do you ever put brown sugar on a cheesecake? It's a dessert. I'm sure some version of it incorporates brown sugar, probably. Well, I'll keep sipping away at that. I might come back to you if I have any further revelations, but that seems like a fairly good summary so far. Lime cheesecake. And it's nice. Quite pleasant, that. Cheers.